it was chemicals.
That poor little pussycat didn't look very well, did it? Find out if it was chemicals. Watch the Friday film special, which is on Children's BBC tomorrow at 4:40. Now we go downstairs live for Blue Peter.
And that was me with children in Belfast who are still playing some of the games that have died out in some parts of the United Kingdom. And you'll be able to see exactly what we were up to in just a minute.
Competitor who's winning votes from lots of much older people on Bob Says Opportunity Knocks. Now, she's not a singer like Tony Vaughan, she's an impressionist. And here's how 14-year-old Debbie Stephenson from Hull is winning the votes.
Here she is as herself, Debbie Stephenson. Welcome to Blue Peter. A brilliant impression of Scylla, and I love the frock as well. What was your first impression?
Well, my first impression would be when I was very young. I'd probably take off my bum. Come here, you!
Or teachers and things like that?
Yeah, stuff like that.
So how do you research all your impressions?
Television programmes are useful.
The fun Dozy!
It's Jimmy, it's Jimmy Cranky, hello. Welcome along. You're looking very well. Very healthy. What have you been up to?
I've had great fun. I've entered the London Marathon a couple of weeks ago.
That must have required a very special diet.
Aye, immediately before the race, I filled up with beans.
Baked beans?
No, runner beans.
Dozy. I tell you what, another favourite TV programme of mine is That's Life. Can you do Esther, or is she too difficult?
We got a letter from a Mr. Dorking of Woking, who recently visited a dentist to have a tooth extracted. Poor Mr. Dorking was given laughing gas, and he didn't stop laughing until 3 days later, when he saw the dentist's bill. I didn't know dentists had bills. This one did. He was a quack.
You don't use any wigs or props or any accessories at all, do you? Why is that?
Well, it's a lot of messing about, really. If you have your suitcase on stage, you're turning around to it, you've got your back to the audience. Then once you've put the wig on and taken it off, all your hair's a mess.
And you've got to cart around all the props.
Yeah.
I've heard that you're very good at poetry. A little bit like Pam Ayres, in fact.
Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth and spotted the gumrot beneath. Now me teeth's black and brittle. I've got green-coloured spittle. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth. Thank you.
Do you find it difficult to do men's voices?
Well, obviously they're more difficult than women's voices because some of them are really deep down there and really sort of guttural, and it's hard to get down there. But I find with those you have to rely on the accent.
Yes.
And the way they speak.
You'll be working on me next, won't you?
Yeah, watch out.
How's about Karen Keating? Our Karen, that must be fairly easy. Just let Karen introduce your next guest.
Well, our next guest is the Iron Lady herself, Margaret Thatcher. Prime Minister, in welcoming you to the programme, I take it you don't mind being impersonated at all.
As a matter of fact, I'm getting fed up of hearing people mimicking me. Why, only the other day, whilst on walkabouts in Bournemouth, I noticed that they were holding a competition to see who could take me off the best. I entered and came third.
That's very good, Prime Minister. But back to Blue Peter now. What about Janet Ellis?
I'm not too sure about that, actually. We'll have to see. Oh, in fact, I've been asked to reintroduce Cilla Black. Cilla, we all love watching you on television. But perhaps you could let us into a secret by telling us what your favourite TV or radio programmes are.
Oh, I enjoy many television programmes, but I never listen to British radio. I always listen to Spanish radio.
Why is that?
Because the weather forecasts are better than ours. Ta-ra!
It's amazing when you look at the pictures of the stars that you're doing. It really could be them, couldn't it?
Yes, I don't think you've quite got my beautifully well-modulated voice there. I don't want practice, I think, yes. Who did you find the most difficult, me or Karen?
Probably you, because in actual fact, I also take off your mum, Gloria Honeyford.
We do my entire family sing.
What about Bonnie the dog? You must be able to do that. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Well, listen, best of luck in the finals. Hope it goes well. And you can listen to a bit more of me now. Brush up on your Irish accent. Now, you may have noticed there's been a lot of news recently about a sport which most people have had a go at one time or another, and it's skipping. All you need is a bit of old rope and you have a ready-made exercise machine. So it seems a bit strange that it should be dying out, particularly when you think that just 4 years ago there was a lot of talk about making it into an Olympic sport. And a group called the Evanettes flew in from New York to demonstrate their double Dutch skipping here in the Blue Peter studio.
Well, it's very hard to beat that. But skipping games are hundreds of years old and are played all around the world. In Germany, they do it in large numbers and in straight lines. Whilst in South Africa, the children of Soweto still use the traditional rope and jump in the street. In China, elastic skipping is popular, and I used to call this French skipping. But now French skipping seems to be used to describe anything which is different from the simple single rope version of the game.
Well, skipping may well be dying out here in England, but in Northern Ireland, where I come from, it's still played all over the place, and so are lots of other games. And the other week I went back to Belfast to visit some of the places where street games are still alive and well.
Near the centre of Belfast are the St Patrick's schools for girls and boys. And when I arrived at the playground, I heard some very familiar songs.
Londonderry, follow me to Londonderry, follow me to Londonderry.
I'd heard them before, but I had absolutely no idea where I'd learnt them, and I wondered if these skippers could tell me how they came to know the words.
Now, some of the games you played, do your mums or your aunts or your grannies ever remember playing them?
Yes.
And do they tell you about them?
Yes.
What kind of games did they play that you
When, because that's an old one. Granny in the kitchen.
And would they have helped you learn any of them?
Yes.
What's this one called? And how did you learn this?
We picked it up. We just picked it up in the yard. No,
Is it about anything in particular?
No.
Nothing at all.
Nelson in the army lost his arm. Nelson in the army lost his eye. Nelson in the army lost his head. Nelson in the army found his leg. Nelson in the army found his arm.
But do you have a go at getting me out on this? It shouldn't be difficult.
Bluebells, cockle-shells, overhead. My mommy is a butcher, my daddy cuts a meat. How many hours does a baby sleep? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Not bad.
Double rope skipping is also popular and even more difficult.
How do you do it? Just jump. Saving up with the rope. Jump safe. Just spin up playground. Just jump.
You have another. Show me when to run
that
in.
rope goes out. Up. Jump in.
2 of them.
6, 7, 8.
This one.
Jump in.
Okay.
Jump in. Keep jumping. Yeah, jump safe. Perfect.
do ordinary skipping, but not this. How did you learn how to do this?
You just keep jumping. You don't say you do ordinary skipping. You just go like get there. You have to keep going like get there and that.
Is it much harder than ordinary skipping?
Yeah.
Do you ever make up any of the songs yourselves?
Yes. When we, and the window went, we put in our boyfriend's names.
And who's your boyfriend? Tell us.
Mention her name.
Well, who's going to be in the rope then? And what's your boyfriend's name?
David.
David. Right. Okay. Well, do you
Agnes.
She's got two. Do you want to play it?
Yes. Like quarter. The wind blew high. The rain came tumbling from the sky.
Out in the streets, I found some mums who remembered the songs from their school days.
Roving eye. She is handsome, she is pretty. He is a girl from Belfast City. He is 14, 1, 2, 3. Please tell me who is he?
That's brilliant, thank you.
Some of the games the boys play were taught to them by Seamus, who's the school caretaker.
Seamus, why did you decide to reintroduce a lot of the old games?
Well, I was working down the school there. I heard a lot of the parents complaining about the money they were spending on toys and BMXs for their children. And it just brought to mind that in my young days, we didn't spend much money on toys or anything. We just invented our own, just like the hoops and cleats. It didn't cost, oh, there's a van wrecked. It didn't cost any money, it did there. But that was one of the reasons.
What do you think of all the kids out playing these games now?
Magic. Great.
You like seeing them again?
Ah, yes, it's good.
A pretty good hit.
That's a better
one, yes.
What is this?
Well, it's known as piggy and stick. And there's a game that's quite easy to make, and just the two wee bits of wood. One's tapered at one wee bit. The piggy's tapered at each end. Looks like a wee pig, sort of, you know, with heads at head at both ends.
Will I have a go at it?
Go on, away. Main boys.
Which sound do you put?
You hit the point at the end.
Like that? Or put it at the other one?
Bring that card
Is
down there.
that the right way round?
Yes.
I don't think I'll be going that far. Ooh. Nope.
Set it up again.
Oh, sorry. You wouldn't need to
Very good.
Thank you. Have they changed much since you used to play them?
No, not really. No, I don't think so.
This is Churchy. It has lots of names depending on which part of Britain you come from, like Bungie Barrow, Hajamanaka, or the Wall Game.
Churchy, do you remember that?
No.
Where you all piled up against the wall?
Yes.
What did you call it?
What do I call it on?
What's it like being at the end?
Terrible. Your chest.
Where's the worst place to be in this game?
Middle.
In the middle, because everybody sits on you.
I played kick the can.
And what was that?
Well, you put a can down and you kicked it as far as you could.
The hoop and cleek was a great thing. There's an old story told, a lot of the Belfast people know it, about the wee lad that went to Hollywood with his hoop and cleek, and he put his hoop outside his shop, went in for sweets, and when he came out, the hoop was gone, and he started crying because he didn't know how he was going to get home again.
So that they've gone for miles with them?
Oh, they've gone for miles without feeling tired.
Do you remember many of these games?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Which ones did you used to play when you were young?
Oh, hopscotch and what was it then?
Hurry him up.
And so what do you have to do with it? How do you start it?
Well, you wind this round,
A Pyrian whip is the same thing as a spinning top.
and then you get like that there.
Alright, got a room here. And then just whip it to keep it going?
Yeah. Keep it on the bridge.
How long can you keep it going for?
I don't know, I haven't hanged myself.
Not very long because your cord's falling off the stick. Right. Wind it round like that?
Yes. Then you put it on the ground. Everybody stand back.
Right.
Up and then. She's only trying to marry up, singing over the wind high.
And with a little coaxing, the mums were soon back in the playground to show how they used to do it.
yes, she doesn't get a boy with the ruby. He is handsome, he is pretty.
So maybe the experts have got it wrong. Skipping won't die out as long as the songs stay alive.
They can still do it as well.
I know, but the amazing thing is that everybody just knows them.
Yeah.
And you can never remember
Steps.
learning them, can
No.
you? Because I recognise some of those rhymes.
They're
but I
very
can't remember
universal and
learning
you'll
them.
find them everywhere.
I'm going to start skipping because athletes skip and tennis players skip.
You just won't be able to sing the songs.
Now for a tale of mystery, detection and very dark goings-on in the Blue Peter garden. Last week we noticed that someone or something had been messing around with our pond in the Italian sunken garden. All the baskets from the corners had gone and 2 of them were just floating around in the middle of the water. But worst of all, nearly all the goldfish were missing. Now at first we thought that some intruders had got in, but according to our friend Ron, who watches the pictures from the closed security camera that guards the garden day and night, he said no, nobody's gone anywhere near the garden or near the pond.
The plot thickened. Who was the mystery goldfish thief? Now, we thought we had the answer when Ron said he'd seen these 2 in the garden. Now, these are mallard ducks, and look at this. Pictorial evidence of a damning kind, because this one's actually got its beak in the water. But the RSPB say that mallards don't eat goldfish, so they obviously weren't the guilty ones.
And there were no footprints and there was no more evidence at all, so we were totally baffled. Until another friend who works in Television Centre, Bill Marney, came up with the answer. And here he is, pointing to the spot where he caught the thief in action. And guess who the thief is? Not a mallard duck, not a human being. The goldfish nicker is, in fact, a heron.
Herons are fish-eating birds, better suited to lakes and rivers than to life in the middle of the city. But that doesn't stop them raiding garden ponds for fish. Their spindly legs, long necks and sharp beaks make them ideal fish hunters. And there's nothing a heron likes more than to tuck into a juicy, squirming eel, if they can find one. An adult heron has a hefty appetite and can eat as many as 14 eels a day. But if there are no eels or river fish to be found, a goldfish makes a tasty alternative. Each heron finds a favourite feeding spot, and once they know there's food around, they're likely to come back for more. And brightly coloured goldfish in garden ponds are easy pickings. Frogs, newts, birds, and even small mammals fall prey to stalking herons, so they're not the most popular of birds. It's not that herons are being cruel when they hunt for fish. They only kill to survive and to feed their hungry nestlings waiting for them in treetop heronries. One of the most famous heronries is at Regent's Park, just 5 miles from the Blue Peter Garden. So maybe it was there that our poor goldfish were fed to young herons in their nests.
Well, as you can imagine, it was a great blow losing our fish. So first thing this morning, we were out inspecting the pond with fish expert Brian Banks.
What a shame. How many disappeared, Brian?
Well, I've only counted 8, which means we've lost 1/3 of them, unfortunately.
Now listen, I know you've got a secret weapon heron stopper.
Yes.
Obviously, we'll come to that in a minute. First of all, how many are we going to restock the pond with and what?
Well, we're only going to put 5 back in because otherwise, when they breed over summer, the pond is going to be just hopelessly overcrowded.
Yeah.
So I thought what we do is we put some different species in. One of these, which is a golden tench, that's a rather solitary bottom-living fish which will feed on any pond pellets which are left over or worms.
So he'll go down to the bottom and probably stay there?
That's right. We'll see very little of him, in fact.
What about these?
Well, these are a shoaling fish called golden orth, a very active fish when they swim around in a tight group, hence we're putting 4 of these in. They're quite an attractive feature, really.
They all look very healthy. How can you spot a healthy fish? What do you have to look for?
Well, the important thing is to make sure that all the fish's fins are upright and that they're swimming around actively. If you see any fish in an aquarium which have got fungus or lumps or any tiny white spots on the body, or fish which are scratching on the bottom of the gravel as if they're itching, avoid that tank altogether because it probably means that the fish are diseased and you'll introduce disease to the rest of the pond.
So a good idea if you're buying a fish from a pet shop is not just to say, I'd like a fish, but to have a good look in the tank and see what they've got, and then you choose the one. Say,
That's right.
That one.
It really does pay to be selected.
Now, this temperature of the water's quite cold. That's the same water in there, yeah? The same temperature?
That's right. They've been in there for about 20 minutes, so the temperature should be about the same now.
OK, let's let them go into the wild, or nearly the wild, anyway.
OK.
Come on, Mr. Tench.
Well, that's a tench. If you just...
A tench moment.
Oh, that's awful. If you cut the bag and then just let him swim out, he should disappear quite rapidly.
Just cut the top off.
Yeah.
That. OK, what should we call him? Flipper, or Spot, or Rover?
Spot, I think.
In you go.
There he goes.
Come on.
Yeah, if you just gradually sort of lower him down, that's right.
There he goes.
Straight down.
He's gone straight down. Yeah.
Okay.
To be solitary. He wants to be alone.
There, the off.
Right. Off with the off. Hold on to the bag.
Got it. Right. Oops, don't spill that. There we are.
Hang on, I've got the scissors faster on my thumb.
I think they'll.
Two of these.
Yeah.
In you go. Come on. Oh, they can't believe it. They're saying free at last. They've been roaming around in that bag.
And there's the last two.
Okay. Hold on to the bag again.
Don't cut my finger off. There we are.
Right. We'll have to keep Bonnie away as well. Never mind the herons.
The herons, yes. Well, let's hope the herons don't get these ones anyway.
There they go. Look at that, Bonnie. You've just missed them. You've just missed them. They're down there now. Well done. Thanks a lot, Brian. What is the secret weapon, then?
Well, we could either put a net over the pond, like we do in the autumn to keep the leaves out, but that would look a bit of a mess, and it would also stop things like the irises growing upwards. So we're going to put a tripwire around, like the ones that Karen is bringing in at the moment.
Here it is.
So what can I do?
Thanks. Well, if you get those two buckets over there and place them in either end of the pond, then we'll stick these bamboo canes actually into the buckets.
Now, Brian, won't the herons just walk over this wire?
Well, the heron doesn't land actually in the pond. It lies by the side, and then it gradually sort of stalks into the pond or leans over. And the idea is that this actually stops the herons from doing that.
Okay.
Right.
And then what? One more?
And then do
Well,
the
we want
same
one
on
more
the
on
other
that
side.
side and two on this
And
side
you put
as
another
well.
one along the top as well, won't you?
That's right, yes.
Here's a piece here.
Thank you.
That's it, fine.
Okay, this side.
Like that.
And the fish can swim around.
Well, they should be a bit safe
being
now,
worried.
yes.
Safely.
Yep.
Swim inside the market dish. Consider that.
Oh dear, there we are.
Nearly worked.
Now, is that tight?
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it as tense as I can.
Okay.
Well, let's hope that does the trick. Percy, have you ever had any trouble with herons?
I certainly have. I put a thin nylon netting over mine, but I think yours is a better idea. I'll do it like that in future.
Let's hope that works. We haven't made a very good start with the pond so far, but this tree nursery is coming on
Well, it's going well. Do
famously.
you remember these seedlings? They're from my own garden, these were. Just chance seedling. There's the oak, there's the ash, and then we have the spruce, that's the Christmas tree. Here, the pine, and the larch, and there's even George there enjoying it, look. And then, remember, we had these seedlings we buried in a jar here.
Yep.
Well, a number of them are coming well. There's the sycamore, there's the ash, here's the oak, and the winner of the lot is this one, the conker or the horse chestnut.
Yeah, that's
now,
really...
the sorbus or the mountain ash have not come yet, or the hawthorn, but they will, I'm sure.
Well, the rest of it's a triumph for that stratification, isn't it? And the damp weather, I expect, which has also worked well on the vegetable patch, hasn't it?
Well, yes, we were a little bit too generous here with our seeds, weren't we?
As
These
usual.
have all got to be thinned out, taking a lot of them out, pulling them up like this, and putting them on the compost heap. We can't transplant them.
That's a
You
shame.
see,
Why not?
Well, with root vegetables, they form a taproot. It's a long, thin root. Once you disturb that root, they're never much good.
Well, there's plenty
So
there
there's-
anyway, isn't there?
This is the kohlrabi that forms a turnip-like root. This is the leaf beet, spinach beet, and there's the salsify that have all got to be thinned. Now it's time to put in the sweet corn.
So
Or the
you're
potatoes.
planting these there?
Oh, yes. Now, Janet, those are what we call self-sets. When we were digging them, we left one or two in. So, because they've come up, we decided to leave them and let them produce.
New potatoes under there somewhere. These are doing well. Do these go in rows as well, then?
Yes, they do. No, put those in groups. If you start there, can I have one to push him out? It takes some getting out. Push him out the bottom
It's
like
not going
this.
to damage the root.
Yeah, and you've got a bigger one there. That's it.
Right.
Like that. And plant them there. Plant them in a group. A group because they're wind pollinated. The wind blows the pollen over the top of the cobs, and then you get the nicely formed cobs.
Right.
So give them about 9 inches apart, and we look forward to the sweet corn.
Certainly
Well,
do.
these are my favourite, Percy. They're sunflowers.
Now
Are they
those-
ready to plant out yet?
The sunflowers made nice little plants, haven't they? We put them in these cups, and these two are going to take a bit of getting out without. Oh, it is come
Oh,
out.
that's not too bad.
A nice root, look. And those we can plant here, Karen, in a group round here about 12 to 15 inches apart.
Is it too late just to plant sunflower seeds?
It isn't, you know, no. Get sunflower seeds like this, they're quite big seeds. And sow them, make a hole, inch so deep, put a couple of seeds in, and then put a jam jar over the top. to hurry them along.
Right, and then you'll need a cane when they start getting bigger.
Oh, they'll need a cane. They certainly will, yes.
Now, didn't you once have a great Blue Peter sunflower competition?
We did, and it was good fun. You know, the tallest sunflower was 14 feet 6 inches.
Really?
Yes,
The
it
person
was.
who grew it was probably about this size.
It was, yes, we had a competition, and the winner I entertained at my own garden in Shrewsbury.
Oh, that was nice.
Smashing. Well, listen, I've got the canes, so why don't we have another competition? Let's see if the Blue Peter viewers can't do any better in 1987, yeah?
Yeah.
Why not? It's good
So,
fun.
if you're growing sunflowers like us, make sure you give them lots of loving care and attention, and in September we'll give you details of how to enter our giant sunflower competition.
But you can only enter the competition if you manage to grow sunflowers which end up taller than ours are. And don't forget that Percy said it's still not too late to grow them from seeds. And the winner will win a day out with Percy in his garden, the Magnolias. And here is Percy's beautiful garden at Beaumere, Shrewsbury. And on Sunday, he'll be opening it to the public in aid of Gardeners' Charity. So go along.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
But our sunflower prize winners will get Percy and his garden all to themselves. And I hear that last year they had a wonderful salmon lunch. This Saturday, little Willow is on the move. She's going down to the Kernow Cat Club show at St Austell in Cornwall, where she is, not surprisingly, guest of honour. And she's got a wonderful picture on the poster. Look at that.
We're going to be back on Monday with some little tiger cubs.
And save your old bits of silver foil, because I'll be showing you how to make them into some grand jewellery.
OK.
See you then.
Ta-ra!
Bye.
Great, I particularly liked the impressionist on Blue Peter there. Do you think I've got time to do my Dame Edna impression? You think so?
Hello, darlings, it's the Milvan megastar. Here I go. I think that girl's going to go far. Isn't she wonderful?
I'm sorry, lucky break time, down with the chair. Whoop, there we go. There comes the lucky breaks. First one is for Jew, who's got an art exam on the 1st of June. Good luck, Jew. What's your real name? It's Julie Carter, who lives in Askham-in-Furness, I think that is, in Cumbria. Good luck with your exam, Jew, from your friends, Jane and Claire. So I hope you do very well with that. There's another one here. Oh, yes. Will you please say good luck to my gran, Dorothy Davey. She's having a cataract operation on her eye on the 29th, which will be her 82nd birthday. So good luck with your operation, love. I hope it all goes well for you. That comes from Rachel, Nick, Claire and Boris, and they live in Bradford-on-Avon in Wiltshire. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 to 4 with the Adventures of Morph, with Corners at 4 o'clock. 4:15, there's Ulysses 31, and then at 4:40, it's our Friday film special, and that is the Battle of Billy's Pond. So we're looking forward to that. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
On Sunday, Birdwatch goes Dutch with a series of live reports from the marshlands of Holland. It's a bird lover's paradise which welcomes some of the rarest and most spectacular migrants from the southern winter. And Birdwatch cameras will be providing close-up observations of the visitors and their young. Tony Soper has booked an exclusive perch right in the middle of a breeding colony of cormorants. With live reports throughout the day, Birdwatch Goes Dutch begins on Sunday at 12:25 on BBC1.
Now on One, and Harrod and Robbie invite you to go for it.